pros and cons of organizing staff retreats and workshops online versus in person. As a facilitator, I get asked this question quite often by my clients. Hey, should we do this online or should we do this in person? Should we do it in real life? And so I like to start with 4 questions. The first question you should ask yourself is, what's the main purpose of this meeting? Is it to connect? Is it to create a strategy? Is it to create a work plan, to brainstorm? Second question you should ask is, what can we do virtually that we can't do in real life? And what can we do in real life that we can't do virtually? Third question is, what does your budget actually allow? Now, you may want to do lots of things, but actually you have to think about your budget. And the fourth question is, how will attendance participation differ if you do it online versus in person? So now let's get to the pros and cons. We'll start with online. The pros of online are many. You can have people from all over the world very easily. Travel costs are low. It can be cheaper to do things online. You don't have to worry about space constraints. It's much more efficient to move people around in breakout rooms. You can have lots of tech add-ons like polling and games. You can also make it very accessible for people with physical challenges. So for example, they can turn up the volume how they want. We can have closed captioning. Because it can be recorded, you can actually have easier note-taking as well. And for those who don't really like to talk that much and they like to use the chat function instead, that's also really nice. The cons to online are that it can be really difficult to judge the mood of the group. And what I find is the larger the group, the harder it is to engage them online. You also need someone who is really a skilled facilitator in that online virtual environment. It does take, I find, more prep and production to do something that is online. Other limits of online is that you can't do physical activities. There might be power outages or internet outages. You have to deal with individuals' levels of comfort and access to technology. People are much more likely to multitask when it is online because there's so much easy access to tech, so it's very easy to get distracted. So now let's talk about the pros and cons for in real life, in person. So with the pros, it is easy to gauge the mood of an audience. You can also have lots of physical activity. There's those opportunities for small talk, for side conversations that you might not otherwise have. I find that whiteboarding and sticky note activities can be easier to do because you don't have to worry about tech challenges. As much as I'm a fan of Miro and Mural in the sticky notes in the virtual setting, it can be very difficult tech-wise. And there's also just less multitasking when people are in person. The cons for in person is that it can be more expensive, it can be less environmentally friendly, it can be actually less accessible to those with special needs. It can require human connection for those who don't want human connection. There can be health concerns. It requires more transition time. If you are doing sticky notes and people are handwriting it, that might mean that someone's got to type up those notes if you want to document it, and that's different from when people are typing in sticky notes online. Then the last option is hybrid. So the pros to hybrid is that you can include more people and you can meet those requirements for including people. The cons are that it can actually be more expensive because you may need more technology as well as this extra space. And also the people who are participating online typically feel a lot more isolated in that they're not getting as good of an experience as those who are participating in person. I gotta tell you, I don't like hybrid at all. When my clients ask for hybrid, I say no, and the only way we'll do it is if we actually have an in-person facilitator and then a parallel experience with an online facilitator who's running the session at the same time. So that way the people who are online are getting as good of an experience as those who are doing it in person. So I hope that these pros and cons of organizing a staff retreat, workshops, online versus in person, helps you make a more informed decision to fit your needs. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do click that like button and follow us on CuriosityBase YouTube channel. And you can also visit us at curiositybase.com to get lots and lots of different resources on meeting facilitation, just how to practice curiosity in the world.